Step 1. Choosing and cropping photos. For this particular project, I was given 2 original photos to work from and then asked to put them together. This went through several stages, with crop 2 being the client's final choice. Step 2. Preparing the canvas. Starting with a plain white stretched canvas, I lay down a layer of a peach-tinted gesso that's similar to a skin tone. Gesso is an acrylic-based canvas primer that prepares the canvas, creating a good painting surface for the artist's oils yet to come. This is the finished primed canvas. Step 3. Putting the photo on the canvas. Next, I print out the finalized composited picture onto a printable transparency film. Then, using a standard office-type transparency projector, I project the image onto the canvas. I then simply pencil trace all the major features I need for painting. This shows the projected image as it looked right before I penciled it onto the canvas. Step 3. Photo on the canvas. Detail. This is a detail of the finished pencil drawing on the canvas that I paint from. I've often been kidded that using a projector to transfer the photo to the canvas is cheating. My answer is that using a tool to speed up your work isn't cheating, it's being professional. Step 4. Preparing to paint. It's necessary to look at the original photo literally hundreds of times while painting. In the past, I worked from professionally printed photos or from an inkjet on photo paper home print, but was never happy about the loss of detail from the digital original, and painting high-level detail is really my forte. Then it occurred to me to simply put my easel right next to my computer desk so I can view the image on my 24-inch monitor. This gives me a detail-rich image to work from and lets me zoom in on the particular area I'm working on. Step 5. The underpainting process. The actual painting process begins with the underpainting. This is where I do a shadow pass of the entire painting with just a single dark color. As in this case, I generally use burnt umber, though a dark gray or even a dark purple tone may be used if it better suits the darker tones in the original photo. This process has several advantages. First, it sets the picture firmly on the canvas so the pencil drawing can't be accidentally rubbed off. Step 5. The underpainting process. Continued. Underpainting also establishes the main color tone of the painting and establishes the beginnings of the shadows. Once completed, this underpainting has to dry completely for several days before the next stage can begin. Step 6. First color stage, first figure. Now that the underpainting is completely dry, I put a coat of a medium skin tone on the first figure's face. In this case, it's an unusually light medium skin tone due to the age of the subjects. Notice how the shadows from the underpainting still show through the wet paint somewhat, as on the nose, ears, and neck. I'll now utilize the wetness of this base coat, a wet-on-wet process, to blend both the shadows and the highlighting colors into the skin. I never show the client the painting at this stage. They just don't get it. Step 7. Second color stage, first figure. Unfortunately, I didn't take a picture soon enough after the last slide, so there's a fairly big leap between this and the last photo. I carefully blend color, both lighter and darker, into the still wet medium skin tone base to slowly build on the skin color effects. First using an orange and crimson mix to bring a look of blood flow beneath the skin, and then adding burnt umber and purple for the shadows. Step 7. Second color stage. Continued. I then added the subtle yellow tones and the nearly white highlights while constantly referring back to the original photo for reference. It's essentially a matter of increasing both shadows and highlights, slowly building and adding detail until I see the emergence of the photoreal effect I'm after. Notice the difference now between the first figure and the second, which is still just the raw underpainting, no color yet added. Step 8. Third color stage. Here I've begun the underpainting of the hair for the first figure, which establishes the shadows behind the finer and lighter hair that will be in the foreground. I also have the color base coat and basic color blending completed on figure 2, but haven't yet started its detailing. And also have started the color base coat on the infant's blanket, which will end up with a strong visual texture. Step 9. Detailing. While doing some detailing all along, I've now reached a stage where this is the main work left to do. Figure 1's hair requires a 3-stage process of lightening color layers, each of which must dry completely before the next stage can be painted over it. Figure 2 now has some basic detailing on both her skin and her blanket. Step 10. Final detailing. At this point, the painting is nearing completion. Figure 1 has the third and final color layer on her hair, and Figure 2 has nearly all her detailing completed, other than her hair. Step 10. Final detailing. Continued. These days, stretched canvases commonly wrap to the back of the interior framing to hide the fasteners that hold the fabric in place. So, artists frequently paint these canvas-covered sides to include them in the piece. This looks great and has the added benefit of not requiring the client to frame the portrait unless they choose to. As shown here, I finished the edges of the canvas to include them in the finished portrait, creating a sort of natural frame. Step 11. Curing and shipping. Here, Figure 2's hair and blanket are finished, and all details are completed. Once the blanket is dry enough, I sign the finished painting. I then take photos to send to the client and add to my website. Oil paint dries slowly and needs to cure, so I insist on at least 2 full weeks of drying time before packing and shipping to the client, and I recommend 6 months before framing. Step 12. The finished portrait. When I was about 6, my dad's sister had a 100-year-old portrait of some lady great-great-grand relative, and she pointed at it and exclaimed to me, "Look, Renee, you have her nose." I've always remembered that. Rare, valuable, and utterly unique, original oil portraits stay in families for generations. Imagine giving a wonderful gift like this to your family. Order yours now. For more information and pricing, or to contact me directly to order your original oil portrait, go to ReneeMcLaughlin.com. That's ReneeMcLaughlin.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Renee McLaughlin, and I'd like to be your portrait artist. Just click the link in the description box to go to my website for pricing and more information. Thank you.